Today we take a look at how to repair a stripped and cracked cabinet hinge mount. You can see here the hinge mount is cracked all the way down the furring strip here. And jamming a golf tee or some toothpicks in there is really not going to cut it because it's going to make that split worse. Cabinet door isn't properly shut in right now. As you can see there's a gap in it. When I open and close this hinge, you can see the hinge on the mount flex just a little bit. It's moving around in there pretty good. That's what's torquing this mount and splitting this furring strip. First thing to do here is to mark the hinge where they're at. So we can put them back into location when we're done with the repair. If you're off by just a fraction of an inch, it does affect the door. Next up, undo the hinges from the furring strip. Okay, if you take a look at this, when I tighten up the screw, you will actually see the split open up. Can you see that? The split is actually opening up even more to the point that we're going to be able to fit some glue inside of that crack. What I'm actually going to do is go get a screw that's just slightly wider so we can really get that glue inside of there. Okay, next up we're going to need some either 2-in-1 epoxy or wood glue, glove to keep all of that mess off of our fingers, an old junky razor blade that we don't mind getting rid of, a couple of clamps. C-clamp will also work. Probably use the C-clamp for the hole and then these 2 clamps for the furring strip, and an old magazine or a piece of cardboard to mix this epoxy on. 2 even equal strips of the epoxy 2-in-1 here. I just want to let you know I'm using this 2-in-1 because I think it will be a more permanent fix. I would not use Gorilla Glue in this situation. I'm a big fan of Gorilla Glue, but you don't want glue that's going to expand going into a crack that you're trying to keep together. Just not a good idea. Wood glue is a great alternative. As well, I don't like wood glue because some manufacturers of the wood glue, some versions of it are still susceptible to moisture. We're in a kitchen, we're not right next to a hot sink of dishes, so that could be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and use the epoxy here, the 2-in-1 epoxy. What you do, you go ahead and get it all mixed up, and then you put some of it on the razor blade like this. Remember, you want to use an older razor blade. There we go. Now we're focused in. You want to go ahead and fill evenly across the crack. You can even do an upward stroke. Really work the glue into the crack. It's going to be going into the hole too. Sorry about the shaky camera work. I'm trying to wipe the excess off, not doing it very successfully. Work that into the crack. Okay, that stuff was starting to set up in a hurry. I was not able to monkey around with the clamps on camera, but as you can see here, I set them up basically going the length of the crack. I filled the hole with epoxy from the razor blade and put the main C-clamp over the top of that, tightly clamping everything as tightly as it could be maneuvered without damaging or scarring the face of the furring strip. I went ahead and glued together the second hole as well. There's not enough room for a third clamp, so this will have to do. The excess epoxy has been squeezed from the crack and has created a little ridge running all the way up the split. I'm going to take a little bit of 100 grit sandpaper here and run that along that ridge. So we've got to get that taken care of, get that smoothed out. The hinge will sit properly, and then we need to drill out this hole to the proper dimensions of the screw going into it. I've wrapped a little bit of tape around the end of a drill bit to not allow me to go into the wood any deeper than that tape. This is to keep the wood from splitting any further, but still allow the screws to go to the depth required to hold the hinge onto the mounting point. Okay, we're about to drill out the hole. Pay attention to the drill bit being straight up and down and true to the direction that you want things to screw in. Start slow. Only go to the depth that you've put down for the tape. There we go, we've achieved it. With the hinges seated back into position, the bottom part of the door is now flush with the cabinet face again. Now it's sitting slightly ajar like previously. I'm really happy with the way things turned out today, and that's how you fix a split cabinet rail or mounting point on a cabinet.